It's in the name.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor with Ben and Travis podcast. On today's episode, we'll be talking with one of my favorite human beings in a short amount of time. Jason Johnson is joining the show. Talk a little bit about Transform Central and his testimony and how he came to know the Lord and be with us here at Westgate, and just encourage me anytime I'm around him. And so we'll get to that conversation right after this important message. Hey friends, we've got something really special to share with you today, a brand new children's book that's all about faith, family, and finding joy in the middle of life's challenges. It's called The Adventures of Ben and Travis and the Joy Rider. This heartwarming story follows a big brother in a wheelchair who uses his creativity, courage, and a whole lot of love to help his little brother and cousin overcome life's obstacles. Together they show us that joy isn't about what you have, it's about how you choose to face the ups and downs of life. This book is full of fun, adventure, and hope. It's perfect for bedtime stories, Sunday school libraries, or as a meaningful gift for the kids in your life. Plus, it's a great way to start conversations with your family about resilience, compassion, and faith. Pre-orders are open now, and when you order early, you'll be one of the first to get your hands on this inspiring story. Just head over to benandtravis.com/books. That's benandtravis.com/books and pre-order your copy today. Give your kids a story that will make them smile, laugh, and believe in the power of joy. I'm Travis Creasy. I'm the pulpit minister at Westgate Church of Christ in Dothan, Alabama. That over there is the pulpit minister at Highland Park Church of Christ. He's a professional counselor, and he works at Mars Hill, helping those young folks out there with their mental health. Ben, how are you, buddy?
I am doing good. Feeling a whole lot better about football season after Saturday. But I know it was just a small team, but it was nice to see a little intensity this weekend. And it was good to get to go by Freed Hardeman this weekend. We had a cross country meet up in the Pinson Mounds area and got to go up there. I don't know why I never went to Pinson Mounds while we were at Freed Hardeman. Never went by there, never saw the actual Indian mounds that are there, but it was a really cool experience to get to do that. Daughter got third place. So there's only like 15 runners, but she got third place. So we'll take it. So it's kind of a cool weekend. Yeah. And got Will Mahan right here next to me. Will's back with us.
Long weekend. But a good weekend.
You had a really long weekend.
Yeah, it was a long weekend, but a good weekend. We ended up last night, we're recording on a Monday. So last night we had a baptism. And this morning, one of my students at Mars Hill came up and said, "You're going to be so happy I was baptized last night." So nice. We're just riding cloud nine right now.
Killing it on a Monday. And our guest, Jason Johnson, has just actually got back from resting a little bit himself. Kind of got up in the mountains and
nice.
As you guys will find out in just a moment, he's got one of those voices that just kind of brings everything in. He sent us a video of nature and had a few inspiring things to say behind that. But as I mentioned, our guest today is Jason Johnson, Westgate Church of Christ minister at Transform Central ministry of the church there. And he has a tremendous testimony that I hope he gets a chance to share with us. But we'll start off kind of with our ministry spotlight. We had a very generous sponsor who sponsored the show and said, "I'd love for you guys to use the time to kind of spotlight ministries." We've done Walk for Water. Last week we did the North Alabama Christian Children's Home. And today we want to talk out the gate here about Transform Central here in Dothan, Alabama. So Jason, take it away. Tell us about how you minister those folks and how we can help.
Okay. Well, Transform, thank you for this opportunity to share what we do at Transform Central. And we just give all credit to the Lord. This is our foundational scripture, Transform Central, and it comes from Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. And for the sake of time, I won't read it, but that's our foundational scripture that we base our discipleship program off of at Transform Central. Transform Central is the only R-certified spiritual sober living program in the Southeast region of Alabama. It took us 2 years to reach this accreditation, but we have it now. And so it's been 2 years since we've had it. And what we do with that accreditation is it opens the doors for Transform Central to better serve up to 8 men. And these 8 men are in the transition of their lives, whether they're coming from jail, detox, or suffering substance use disorders, whether it be from alcohol or drugs, or they're just in the transition of life. But what makes our program different is that our program is based on the biblical principles of salvation. So that's what we give them. We do use the 12 steps, but we use them from a biblical perspective. See, our job is not only to help them overcome addiction, but our job is to lead them into salvation. And that's what we do. And we are able to serve up to 8 men at a time.
Well, that's the really cool thing when you show up to church here at Westgate is you see Jason in there and you see some of those guys with him. They've been to several events that I've been a part of just being in here in the last month. And so it's really awesome to know those guys are getting spiritually fed. Is there a place online that we can send folks that I might put in the description? I know wcc.church is our church website, and I'm sure you can get there from there. I know you've got a Facebook page as well. So any of that information you'd like to share?
Yes. You can get directly there to the application. As also, we have a ministry spotlight there via the church on YouTube.
Gotcha.
And I believe is wcc.church. No, wcc/transformcentral.church.
Okay.
And it'll take you right there. Also, you'll also receive an application there. Just in case you know of someone who needs help, you can, they have them fill out that application there, and then it comes straight to me.
Gotcha.
Okay. That's awesome.
Well, one of the cool things, I guess it's a cool thing, I guess that's the right word. One of the awesome things we've seen God, and you've experienced God. And one of the reasons that you can help these guys so much is that you've had experience in that transition from living one way and the Lord intervening and living a completely different way. And so on the episode today, we love to get to interview people. And our kind of phrase out there, and some of our English teachers may want to close their ears, but we like to spotlight where God has showed up and showed out. And so we would love for you to maybe share some of your story and how you came to know Jesus and how he's changed your life and really how you got here. I think anybody listening could hear a little bit of an accent there.
Yeah.
That's maybe not Southern. And so maybe that was the first giveaway.
I've been working hard on my Southern twang. So.
But we'll kind of turn it over and you can give your story, and I'll let Will and Ben kind of maybe ask some questions when you're finished with that.
Yes, sir. Once again, my name is Jason Johnson. I'm a product of what it is that you men have been doing all of your life, especially at this stage of your life. I'm one of them ones who was born to die in the streets. I'm from the streets of Newark, New Jersey. I was born to a mother in addiction, a father to addiction, as well as a drug addict. My mother was pregnant by my father at a very young age, still in high school. So I'm a product of that type of culture, raised in a single parent house. I started going to jail at 8 years old. My career started early as far as street and worldly lifestyle. My mom's never really went to church. Her mother was an extreme alcoholic. My mother never met her father. And my father's parents was also addicted to alcohol and to drugs until my grandmother, she found the Lord. So I come from that product of life, that culture of life in New Jersey. Didn't grow up knowing God, didn't receive any religion in my life whatsoever until the age of 24. I was in and out of jail all my life, drug dealer, drug addict. And then so my life was just different. I took this class, the state paid for me to take this class once I got transformed accredited. It's called the Respect Initiative. And so they trained me how to write my testimony in in a 5 to 8 minute.
Oh man,
writing. Yeah, they did.
I need that. I need help getting it down to 10 minutes.
It's hard. Under to me. I got this one down to 7. And I just got through doing this last week. They pay you to do these. Once they train you, they pay you. So I have a piece of it written down, but I can just go off verbatim. So I was raised. So then at 24 years old, I come home from prison. I tried to not live the life that I was living anymore. So I tried to settle down with this young lady. She was Muslim. So I accepted I accepted Islam into my life first in order to try to get away from the streets. But that life didn't work because that wasn't what the Lord had for me.
Yes,
so that
sir.
marriage never happened. That whole situation never happened. But that situation broke me to the point to where I became an addict, a full-blown addict. And so for 5 years of my life, I was extremely addicted to cocaine and heroin. Even so much so, and I lived such a life of depravity for those 5 years that even my mother and I got high together. My mother and I smoked the pipe together. My mother and I sniffed heroin together. It was just bad, a total life of depravity for both me and her. And so that was my life at the beginning up until 25. It got bad. It got bad at 25. I found the Lord. I came down here to Alabama. I fell in love with this young lady in 98. I went back to prison and I come back, I meet another young lady. And she brought me out here in August of 98. I got saved in Jesus Christ, and I know I got saved. There was no doubt in my mind I got saved because I didn't want to get saved. And for the sake of time, I won't go into the full of that. But there was a young man preaching. So in my mind, I'm from the streets of New Jersey. It's just the TV stuff. It ain't real. So I'm just sitting there trying not to laugh at the same time. But then the young lady's mother, she saw in me what the Lord wanted to produce in me that I am today. Then, when I was just a drug addict, drying up, walking the street, calling zombies. I was a zombie. So I went in obedience to her. And I just remember standing there, you ain't gonna make me fall. You ain't gonna make me fall. And he's just praying over me. And for somehow, I don't know if you played football, so you know what it's like when you get hit. Sometimes you get that light. It's just a light. When you bump your head, you just get that little boom.
Don't tell the Lord he's not going to put you down, right?
He put me down. But I still did, but he still had to work me through the process. I still went home, went back and forth, back into addiction in 98. And he didn't free me until 2000 when he moved me out here. And I've been chasing him ever since. My life has changed. I got my GED in prison. I'm now have my undergrad and in school for my graduate degree. I've been in ministry ever since I've been down here. So I got like 21 years in ministry. I go to the prisons. I go to the jails. I do what's necessary to save lives and make lives better, because I remember one day I was trying to figure out, well, Lord, what do you want from me? And this was before I really knew him. And he told me what my purpose of life. I asked him, and my purpose of life is the purpose of my life is this: to save lives and to make lives better through the word of God. And that's what I've been pursuing to do ever since he revealed himself to me. So that's the short version.
Man, it's really awesome, the work that you do. And I don't know much about it, but I'm looking forward to looking into it, because I deal with people all the time who come from difficult backgrounds. Some of my very first works as a counselor was working with a company called Bradford that's in Alabama.
Yeah.
I did groups, I did individual sessions with people. And so right off the bat, when I started doing counseling, I was working with addicts. Another one I had was with, children that have been abused or been abandoned, or, sexual molestation, things like that. So there's a lot of deep, dark troubles that people deal with. What do you think is the key? Obviously, I think we would all say the Lord is a part of the key of that. But as far as like from a therapeutic standpoint too, what are some things, whether it's connecting to that or other things that you feel like are the key to really helping people find their way out of those lifestyles that you've mentioned? Because there's a lot of people who are living in them.
Yeah, and that's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. I would personally say, and I'm also building an evidence-based theory on what I'm about to share for that answer. I would say, of course, number one, the Lord, because you have to give a person something greater than themselves to believe in. And for us, it's the Lord Jesus Christ. And secondly, you would have to give them identity. See, what happens is whatever you do more than enough of becomes a part of who you are and then how you're seen to be. So your to do most of the time tells you who you are. And then when you're speaking about an addict, an addict only knows themselves to be what? An addict. So that becomes their identity.
Mhm.
So I've learned to, like, especially now, to how to implement. I also do family counseling. I did family counseling for like 10 years in the community center here. Family counseling, of course, all of these different things I got these state accreditations in. But the number one thing to do was to help them remember who they are as a person beyond the drugs.
I like that answer. Two things. One, with the even with the 12-step program, the first step is talking about, recognizing that higher power. So I think even those who developed it, and, some people obviously now don't think that's God, but that's where it was developed at. And that was the initial thought. But also I love that about the identity, because I do think sometimes we get wrapped. I've heard people, I am an addict, or I am an alcoholic, or I am a whatever. And I realize why that rhetoric sometimes is important for people to understand, but I also think it's important for them to see themselves as more than that there is something more to you than I'm an addict, or, I'm anxious. I mean, we could go into all of the different things that people struggle with. And if we use that as this is who I am, there's way much more to us than that. So I appreciate that answer.
Yeah. And actually, the step one is to admit that you got a problem. So when they admit that they got a problem, then if you can get them to admit that part, now you can peel that part back to help them say, now, who are you past this problem?
Yeah.
And help them re-identify themselves. And that's the process that the Lord has me using on those who come to Transform Central.
That's good.
Jason, as someone who works with young people and has seen over, the years, some young people step into these lifestyles. Thank you for being present. Thank you for being a person, because this weekend I got to officiate one of my youth group members' weddings, and it's such a dream scenario to watch a good Christian man marry a Christian woman. But that's not always been the case, and so I'm thankful that when they find themselves sometimes in these worldly troubles, there's people like you that can step in and help. And so know what you're doing is awesome, and I appreciate that so much. As I listen to you, one thing that I hear that's evident in my mind is you are a disciple maker, helping people become followers of Jesus. And I would kind of like to know, like, what do you see making disciples as? Because I know, like Travis mentioned, he walks into Westgate and he sees you there with these men. And you are kind of like a teacher, a mentor for them. And I think sometimes in the church, we get this idea of discipleship is just teaching someone Jesus. And then once they find Jesus, we've made them a disciple. But I think in your case, you look like Jesus to me, because what you're doing is walking with these men through life. And so I would just kind of like to know, in your mind, what does true discipling of other people actually look like?
And that's another good question. Thank you for that. That's one actually I've never been asked before, but but this is how I perceive it to be. In the book of Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 10, the Lord sent Ezra, and he gave Ezra this declaration. He said to learn it, live it, teach it. Mm-hmm. So what I do is try to get once I help these men first admit they got a problem, right? And then get them to accept their problem. Because it's one thing to admit it, then to accept it, right? Then to begin to get them to identify themselves past that addiction, but to now understand that they're what? A child of God. So you get them to understand that I'm a child of God. So now if you can get them confident in that particular understanding that I'm no longer this addict with that stigma, with those thoughts or those actions or lifestyle. Now you begin to get them to understand and re-identify themselves, because it's personal. You always teach them. I always try to teach them the Bible is personal, it's intimate, but we all get to learn together. So watch this. So now you learn of him personally.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to live what you learn, which takes time. You also got to remind them that it takes patience, right? And then eventually in your living, somebody gonna ask you what it is that you do or how did you change? Now you get a chance to teach it. So I give them those 3 principles: learn it, live it, and teach it for themselves. If they can learn of, so first you want to get them, I try to get them to learn of God on their own. So they'll learn of him, they take that time. And it's ironic you asked that, because I just had a conversation with one of my gentlemen today, and he was telling me how he admitted how his life is changing his family's life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Start impact.
Yeah, he's changing his family's life.
Yeah.
And see, that's how you do. So now you encourage him in that. You always seek to encourage them, but lead them to learn of the Lord on a personal level. And then as they learn of it, to live it. I think that's, for me, that's how discipleship begins, because it's between them and God. And I also live out the example before them, because they got the program is a year to 18 months. And plus they got the church. See, that makes this particular program so much different. They come to church. They got men like Travis and the other elders, the members of the church, also building them up and strengthening them.
It's like discipleship sometimes I think is just, it's kind of like football. It's in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's a lot of dirty work, but man, it's a rewarding work. And I'm sure that you get to lay down at night with a lot of fulfillment in what's going on in these men's lives.
Yeah.
We've talked about before on here, and I've shared this with some groups that I work with, and it's, everything you go through, everything you live through, the things that you have to work through sort of qualifies you to help somebody else through them. And I always love that. I love the stories like your story, Jason, where you've lived it. You're obviously living the Christian part of it now, but you've lived through a lot of the same things these guys have lived through. You've lived through addiction. You've lived through loss. You've lived through going through a transformation in your life, the name, hence the name of the program, but you've lived through that transformation, and now you're reaching back and you're helping other people come through it. And I think that's sometimes some of the most powerful stories of people who reach back and say, hey, I've been there. I know what that's like. I want to help you guys get through this transition too. And so that's a powerful work you're doing.
I think it's really cool. You telling your story, and to Ben's point, right? That once you've been through something, it equips you. And it's amazing how the Lord calls people like that, right? Whatever our motivation were to get into ministry, probably somewhere along the line, it was a hurt or a trauma or a poor decision or whatever. And I just think it's cool, your story and how it layers up, where at no point did you think you would be probably in Dothan, Alabama, doing what you're doing. And certainly I never thought I would be in Dothan, Alabama, doing what I'm doing. But God has this perfect plan to put you and I rubbing elbows, but you and this church rubbing elbows, with the leadership here rubbing elbows, and to put those things all together in a really unique way. And there's things at Highland Park that are unique to Highland Park. There's things at Westgate, but all of us together are kind of working towards the goal. Body. And, Jason, what we like to do, it's the helping, healing humor. And so we kind of like to wrap up with a fun topic. And no matter what anybody thinks about out there, Jason is a Dallas Cowboys fan.
And a Michigan Wolverines
fan. So none of us can talk any smack, because they beat us the last 2 times we played them. Not Alabama fans. But to you, a Dallas Cowboys fan, who is the epitome of Dallas Cowboys football? And they got guys. I mean, there's no shortage of lists of guys that, and this can be positive or negative, but just kind of a fun get to know you kind of question there to end.
That's a good question.
I know that
ask some good
And
questions.
we'll take out because we know what you're thinking. I know you're thinking Jerry Jones. So just put Jerry Jones back. And
Now that is definitely the humor.
Yeah,
That's the humor right there. I would
funny
say,
part.
I want to say Randy White, but I'm gonna go with Tony Dorsett.
All right.
Because Tony was the man, boy.
Yeah,
He was the man.
that's awesome. That is awesome.
Jason, I've got one question, and it's
Mhm.
a question for my wife. But last year, I went to Newark to host a walk for water to raise money to build wells in Africa.
Yeah.
I ate at a pizza place outside of Newark, New Jersey that had bar pizza, and it was as thin as you know what I'm talking about, and it is the best stinking pizza. And I've talked about it for a year to my wife. Is there any place in the drivable area that I can find pizza similar to what's in Newark, New Jersey?
The only place that I know of it, I've been in Alabama now 25 years. I visited a lot of places. I haven't been to Tennessee yet, but I'm coming. The closest place you're going to find in the South is this place here called Richie B's. Now, Richie B's has the same slices that you're referring to. Where you got to fold them to eat them, and the grease run down your elbow because there ain't nothing in there, ain't no dough to soak it up. It's just all ingredients.
Yes.
So Richie B's is that place to be here in Dothan, Alabama.
I may be at a worship service soon because I've got to explain to my wife what this is.
It's a beautiful thing.
Man,
it's a beautiful.
Here's a great question. I know that 50% of us on the podcast here enjoy chicken livers because Jason and I at the staff lunch a couple of weeks ago ordered chicken livers, and I think we grossed everybody out at the table, but we enjoyed them. It was a great moment of fellowship. Ben's saying he's on board.
The only thing I get irritated with is the place here that has the best ones, and they just pile them on. If y'all come to town, you bring him up here. He's got to go to Champy's with us. They have a load of them on a plate. I can't eat them all. I usually take them home. But the only thing that I like Heinz 57 with mine.
Yes,
I think they taste good with Heinz 57, but they don't have Heinz 57 at Champy's. And I'm always
got to hide your own bottle. Got to bring your own bottle.
I'm going to have to smuggle one in next time.
Yeah.
Will, what you own the?
I'll eat them. Yeah.
Okay.
I've only usually done chicken livers from gas stations, so I'm assuming that I'll be fine.
I mean, the gas station food is serious food. People don't understand that. Chicken livers, gizzards, the logs.
Shell station right down from the school here has got fried catfish. And it's incredible. It's incredible. Nobody believes me, but it's good.
The best lemon pepper wings in town are at the gas station at our church parking lot.
This may be the most offensive part of this episode to people who are listening, but I don't care. Hey, we got to the end.
For the Dallas Cowboy in you, I actually threw a touchdown pass in Dallas Cowboy Stadium, AT&T Stadium,
and he threw it to
Travis Creasy. So.
Travis. Jason, we certainly appreciate your time. We appreciate what you're doing, the effort you're putting in, and we didn't even mention Candace, your wife, but she's an amazing person. And if you think Jason is funny and fun to listen to, she's hysterical. I mean, we have staff fellowships, and she cubs, and she just could be a stand-up comedian. She's hilarious and very talented. But Jason, thank you. Fellas, appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to everybody real soon.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.